We're finally going to talk about Chuan Park. This project is more or less the blockbuster in many people's mind for 2024. So there has been quite a lot of people trying to ask me about my views on it, blah blah blah. I would say definitely not. The location is not, definitely not deniable lah. It's good lah. Okay, it's almost in the center of Singapore. MRT station is just right in front of you. Not sure whether they're going to be sheltered all the way, but all these don't really matter that much. But what we need to know is just right in front of MRT. So possibly maybe that's why Lorong Chuan was named Lorong Chuan in the first place, right? Since Chuan Park has been around for the longest time already. So anyway, if I'm not wrong, I think Chuan Park was done back in 1985. So it's way older than I am. I am only 18 years old. So, yeah, it's probably it's a lot more. So I shall not do a calculation how much older. Anyway, Chuan Park on block wall hasn't been easy. They first sold back in 2022. I had an article behind over the other side over here. Hey, July 2022. The final sale was more or less confirmed that they managed to get it at the Kingsford development, actually, the one that built Normanton Park and also Kingsford Water Bay, and the one that has a lot of scrutiny, made it to the news for the wrong reasons, but managed to redeem itself through Normanton Park. So the same developer, by the way, it's the same one at the Hill at One North recently, got it at 890 million for almost 2 years ago. But how come now then they managed to sell? So you see, this article came out slightly more than a year ago that they finally managed to confirm and go ahead that the sale was gonna go through, because there were a whole bunch of a few owners that were trying to fight and then say that basically come up with all kinds of nonsense to object against the sale. Maybe they don't want to sell for whatever reasons. Maybe that they find themselves too old to move, which is really what some people's mentality are, because they are too old to move it. Even if they do make money, they feel that they 没有命花, they don't live enough to spend that kind of money. So in a way, they don't really need that money. And some of them, they find that the replacement costs are a lot higher nowadays because everything is so expensive, right? Which is the main reason, the typical thing lah, people that today why should I sell high, I also buy high ma. So this one has a reason why we sell high and still buy high. Okay, which we shall not talk about it today. But all in all, what we need to know is that after almost close to a year worth of fight for legal, in terms of the legal side, High Court managed to give them approval and they managed to go ahead. But what we need to know and learn from this lesson is that en bloc has never it's never really, most of the time lah, I would say not never lah, most of the time, almost 90% of the time, it's not going to be so straightforward. It's not going to be so easy as what most people would think. They may feel that the older one, especially if they buy a leasehold, eventually somebody is going to build them out. The developer is going to build them out, because it's going to be it's old, and then somebody will definitely buy the property, because once you buy a property, you become emotionally attached to it. And then you feel that your home is the best, although other people will not feel it. That's why typically when we are on the ground, we see a mismatch. There tends to be a very common mismatch between buyer and seller situation. So nowadays you are seeing more and more of this news like this, that there are sellers, or rather en bloc owners, they are trying to go for en bloc, but they definitely feel that their property is worth a lot more. But the buyers, in this case en bloc, usually is the developers. They don't see it, because ultimately you need to know that developers operate from a businessman point of view. They are buying en bloc not to make a charity. They are not charitable organizations. They have to be profitable to answer to their shareholders. And that's why it has to be a very calculated move whether this whole en bloc thing is gonna even make sense. And that's why we see today a lot of these kind of cases. Pine Grove not making through after how many 100 times already. Of course, it's not literally 100 times, but they seem to be always on the news for en bloc, but it never seems to occur over the next. I don't think it's gonna happen for the next few years as well. They probably gonna keep trying, but I don't think they are gonna continue. But the problem now is that they have very limited lease left. 59 years lease left on the 99 year. And then previously we talked about all these owners, only 10 years left, then now they are starting to worry. That's the issue with a lot of people who are buying very, very old condos. Of course, it's a lot cheaper. You get a size, you get a condo, and then maybe you can try for en bloc. But the problem is, what if the en bloc falls through? And in this case, what if the court ruled in the order? Because when it comes to high court, you never know. It's going to be a 50-50 chance. Maybe you think that your chance is going to be higher percentage, but there's still a chance. There may still be a chance that the other side puts up somehow a very compelling reason why the high court is going to award in their favor, and that's why it may not ever go through. So if you kena that kind, then you may happily get a developer that's willing to pay you a decent amount of money for you to move out. Then some of your neighbors just somehow, in a way, for lack of a better, okay, I shall not use that word, it's a little bit not so social media friendly. Yeah, kena whatever block, you guys know lah, kena blocked by certain of your neighbors. And then what happens is, eventually when you don't find a buyer and it doesn't go through, this will happen. It will go back to the state or go back to the ultimate landowner, because not every time the land belongs to the state. In some cases, maybe like the Shaw Residences, I think it belongs to Far East organization, if I remember correctly. There are corporations like this that were selling land that were in fact this one they were also owned by some trustee foundation, because it was some very rich businessman owner that used to possess the land. They probably carved it up on a 99-year lease to sell it, and eventually it's just gonna go back until something happens lah. Far East also, apparently the deal was reached, but because URA didn't approve their SDI scheme, their Strategic Development Incentive Scheme, which in a way allows bonus GFA for developers who redevelop their properties jointly with at least one of the neighbors to create a new destination, because they want to bring up the tourism and bring out the popularity of the place, in a way like a to revive the area, because Far East Shopping Centre, for those of us who know, it's a bit local, although there are still a lot of people, but unfortunately not too many are locals. But it's not a very attractive place for most locals to be in, and I don't think this is something that the government is very proud of, and probably that's why they also want, I believe they want Far East Shopping Centre to en bloc. But the issue now is that these schemes are the conditions are not fulfilled, and therefore it's still not going ahead. So you can see that you finally got an offer, everyone got so excited, you start making plans to move, and then things like that happen. It kind of jams up your whole future planning process. Then also the other one, Island View, cut their prices again by 43 million, which is quite a lot of money. And I think, but if I'm not wrong, the tender has already been closed already, still no news, so I don't think they have actually gotten an offer. If not, then it would have been all over the news. So far, still no news. The other one is Thomson View, same, en bloc, dropped down again to a lower land price of 1282 PSF PPR, including all the bonus Gosford area, blah blah blah. But this particular one, interesting, because the lease started from 1975. I'm not sure what's the reason, because if you think about it, 1975, usually people take about 3, 4, 5 years to build, but Thomson View was completed back in 1987. That means they took 12 years to plan and build. I think that's quite a waste in terms of the land lease, right? So I don't know if anyone, I'm not sure about this news. If any one of you have any inside news or why is this that it took us so much time before the condo was eventually built up to, in fact, a total of 12 years, then if you have any idea on the true reason why, please share with us in the comments below. I think you'll be more than happy to have people like you guys to help out with the community. So same thing, April 18th. Still haven't managed to find a party, at least from what we know, at least from absent from the news. Therefore, has quite a lot of attempts already, but still all didn't manage to go through, unfortunately. So you can see over here that a lot of people may think that en bloc is a lucrative option for most of the old or long-time owners there, in a way to build them out. But you also need to think that owners like to think from, hey, I need a lot of money to cover my replacement costs. I need a what before I can go to other place willingly. But you also need to think that the buyer, which in this case almost all are developers, they are not charitable organizations. They are there to make money. They are not here to put out a charity and bail you out. If it doesn't make sense from a monetary point of view, they are not going to make too much profits. Then it doesn't there's no incentive for them to buy over your place. That's as simple as that. That's why the smarter owners would have liquidated. They take some decent profits depending on the market at that point that they choose to exit, and they go to somewhere that is more lucrative and more safe and with more security because I don't think anyone will want to end up with this kind of situation. I don't think I want to ever put myself in situations like this where you have like 10 years, 15 years, 20 years left, and then you worry about it because if I'm not wrong, with less than 30 years left, your future buyers cannot take a loan to buy a property, and that is where your buyer demand becomes severely cut. It becomes severely very, very, very limited. And even though freehold, some people may think, freehold I can keep staying, but definitely can keep staying. But the issue now is that when you have buildings that are too old, there's a lot of maintenance issues, there's a lot of structural issues eventually that comes in because of wear and tear. And that's why neighbors will want to en bloc because if you look at this while some of your friends and neighbors and families are all staying in modern houses, and then if you, of course it's big, all these, don't get me wrong, all these are huge condos, but the problem is that it's a little bit of like a conservation view. Not everyone likes it. I personally don't like it. I personally don't like to stay in old house. I prefer the modern kind of design, but I do have friends that they like very old conservation style kind of living. So, but definitely the market tends to be a lot more niche. Unfortunately, I think I would say it's like less than 10-20% of the people that I know prefer old conservation kind of feel. So from there you kind of get the idea . So Chuan Park managed to finally sell it, and then previously it was built in 1985, like I mentioned just now. Upcoming, I think is, if I'm not wrong, is about 916 residential units, which kind of makes it a mega development, similar in terms of size to North Park residences. Price, when it comes to the land, is about 1256 PSFPPR after factoring in the upgrading premium. There is no development charge apparently, thankfully for them, and that's why the cost is not as high. But before you think that that means this is going to be a break-even price, no, this is not their break-even price. This is just purely their land price. And then if you add on later, we will add on to the break-even cost, which is about 2,000 plus. It's not 2,000 flat for sure. Later we will show you the numbers. Then you realize that it's not going to be as cheap as most people think it's going to be. Because just because you get the land cheap doesn't mean that the developer is going to sell you cheap. Because if today I sell you a brand new MacBook for $100, you're definitely not gonna sell it for $150 much. They are definitely gonna sell it for like 2,000 or something, depending on at that point. Places like Carousel, how much are they asking? How much your developers are asking? And definitely you will try to sell something that is more comparable. And that is the same thing for developers, because there is no incentive for them to sell cheap. Especially if they manage to buy something cheap, they will want to maximize the profit margin so that they can kill two birds with one stone. Why would they want to sell two projects to make the same amount of money when they can sell one and make the same? If you get what I mean. And then this is the 1 km supply. Of course, usually I just look at 1 km supply. Of course, buyers don't just look at 1 km. They can look anywhere between 2 to 3 km away from a place that you may think they only want to look at. Because most of the time, especially private buyers, they tend to drive. Locations are not too specific for them unless they are looking at particular schools, which are not too many because if you think about it, some of them are more advanced in age, some of them have kids that are grown up already, some of them have kids that are in secondary school or maybe army or even uni. They are not just looking for places in primary school, or maybe some of them they already enrolled in certain primary schools. They don't really care about registering for the primary school thing. So that's why you need to know that the buyer demand for good schools is, yes, it's quite a rave. Everyone is talking about it. It's like it's like a must-have in terms of every other people. But if you look at the actual numbers, it's not as lucrative, as it's not as important as most people think, or rather what most your friends and relative or the hearsays bring it as it is lah. 1 km radius, 3,000 plus units. It is not too much, I would say, for 1 km radius. Usually, if you are talking about 5,000-6,000 in certain areas, Newton has over 10 plus thousand units within 1 km, and that is how scary it is. In terms of supply, I don't think Lorong Chuan here has an oversupply issue, definitely not. But the issue is that they have condos that are very closely compact together, all within walking distance, very close walking distance, and some of them can be pretty decent competitors, because this guy is a freehold, this guy is a 999 from not wrong, or like a 900 plus kind of thing, and this guy is a freehold, and then these three guys are 99 year. This one is also a freehold, and then you have to be more cautious about what you are fighting against, because next time if you are buying this for investment, because we are always analyzing all these properties from a investment point of view. Of course, if you just want to buy and stay, then I don't think you need to bother too much. But if you're trying to buy something that's going to appreciate within the shortest time possible so that you can maximize your ROI, then you have to be more particular and careful about what you are choosing. I pull out 5 of them, like what I mentioned just now. This is correct. Chuan is 999. The Chuan is 999. Then Golden Hill is freehold. Then the other 3 are double nines. This guy is the newest kid on the block, 2013. Lease started from 2010. Then, which is interesting because at that point, I think the developer put it as the name as Circle Line Private Limited. I think I will believe Circle Line by then is more or less already up lah. Circle Line has been around quite for a while, but it's interesting they put up a name like this. Anyway, let's just take a look at the charts. Those two without a lease problem went up a lot significantly, very, very significantly over the past few years, especially after COVID, gone like crazy bonkers. But the Scala, the newest kid on the block, on the other hand, was around the same price or even the most expensive at the previous market peak, and then managed to fall behind very significantly over the past 2-3 years after COVID. In fact, there was one YouTube viewer that reached out to me and wanted me to assure him that Scala was a good buy. I think it was like 2 years plus back already, and then he even met me one more time to try to get a different answer from me. Unfortunately, if I don't think it's gonna move, then I don't think it's gonna move lah. So why would you want to squeeze an answer out from me? I think that guy would have easily put in the money at that point. The recommendations that I gave him would have went up at least very significantly, at least a few hundred PSF compared to the time that previously he was just trying to convince himself that Scala was a good buy, which is around here. Then today he's still sitting on the side, whereas other developments has already been on the way up by at least maybe about 300 PSF at least, depending on which exact one that I was telling him. So that is the issue when people are looking, because he stays around this area lah. So that is the issue when people becomes very, I would say, more of a sentimental towards wherever they are staying, and that's why they feel that everyone naturally feels that wherever they live is the best location. People who live in maybe, Tuas is a bit ridiculous, maybe the workers stay there of course, but if you're talking about Jurong West, if I tell 80% of you that tomorrow you're going to stay in Jurong West, most of you are going to throw eggs at me. But Jurong West people will still prefer Jurong West people. So people at Changi will still prefer to stay at Changi. I hope you get what I mean. So that's why it is not very wise to be too sentimental or attached to a particular area just because you like it. I grew up in Toa Payoh my whole life. I still love Toa Payoh, but I'm beginning to appreciate the beauty of other places as I move all around. I've been to the north, I've been to the west and south and whichever, and every place has its own beauty lah, which I think I'm glad I managed to open my mind and say it, and probably that's why every single place we know that there are people who appreciate it. Then the other two, back to this, these two are the way older ones. Spring Bloom was back in 1999, 1995, and look at these two. It's already been almost catching up with the Scala. Right? So unfortunately, if today you enter, let's say, I don't think Chuan Park is gonna be launching anywhere below 2005 average. Okay, it's gonna be a little bit cheap, I would say. For in most people's eyes, I'm not saying that it's cheap. Most people are like, oh, you're gonna be chonging like crazy, blah blah blah. But I think it's gonna be maybe about 2007. If you think that I'm mad, think again. You might want to think again. Why? Because as we proceed, let's take a look. Chuan Park's break-even price is 2000 plus, 2200 plus. So this is Chuan Park, right? 2200 to 2229. Developers are not going to be selling it to you at cost price. There's no reason, absolutely no reason for them to go through all the court order and all the drama and then still sell it to you in today's market at cost price. 2,500 plus, that means they're going to be selling maybe about 10% profit margin. I don't think they're going to be shortchanging themselves in terms of the average PSF. Why? Because if you look at the factors around it, MRT, location, developers know you love it. It's like Nike. Now $100 shoe, they only cost $22 to produce. This is maybe their break-even price. So $45 goes to $45 probably goes to the break-even, all the other causes. $55 is their profit margin. Why are they able to charge you this kind? And why are people so willingly able to? And by the way, Nike shoes are definitely not $100. A few $100s, especially the Alpha Flies, all these which I've been eyeing and unfortunately still broke to buy them. I absolutely would love to try it. Those of you who try it, please let me know in the comments how you feel. Alpha Flies, Vapor Flies. I'm not sure whether is it actually worth my money. Please let me know how you feel. Like genuine reviews, please. I think that will be a good sharing before I actually eventually someday decide to go mad and put a few $100s into a pair of shoes. I don't think I will be doing that. So why is Nike able to sell you $100 shoes when they only take about $45 to break even? Because they know you love it. They know they have a branding. They know they have the location. They have the all the other attractive things, schools, malls, everything to sell you. And you will be very willing to pay for it because thinking that this is going to be a central location of Singapore. That's why it's more than worth all this. So same goes for this. For lack of, I don't really know how to pronounce branded names because I don't buy them. Maybe I try. What is this? Balenciaga. I don't know. For those of you who are very familiar, please correct me if I'm not wrong. If I'm wrong, one pair of this which I shall not comment because I'm gonna stir a lot of people's. I'm not gonna comment on the design because I don't want to spark a debate. This is not what I'm hoping to stir up in this channel. I'm only looking at real estate stuff discussion, maybe a little bit of Alpha Flies or Vapor Flies. But $800+ for a pair of shoes, for this kind of pair of shoes, and these are before taxes. Maybe I have no idea. Maybe is this even the triple S? I don't know. But then maybe let's say $800+ before taxes. Then usually the retailer will add a markup of 2.3 times, and the price is about, after that, if you minus the markup, is $390, and that will be the developer, the designer wholesale price. And then you have the cost price, which is the actual cost, less than $200, and they sell it to you for before taxes, maybe after taxes about $900+ $1,000. Why are people so willing to pay this? It's simply because they have a product that they know you want it, and they are definitely not going to sell it cheap. As simple as that. I think this is a very simple logic for most people to actually understand, and that is exactly how developers think. And that's why you see the profitable trends of certain projects that are near MRT versus projects that are not so close to MRT. Then we take a look at Jayden, which was a big shocker to a lot of people because there were people buying $2,800+ for a 99-year lease Jurong East project, that is absolutely still mind blowing till today. Okay, I'm very sure there were people who back out. Congratulations to them, they make a same decision, but there were people who go through. I've seen videos of people shouting, wow, what when they buy like high floor 30 something PSF, 30 something floor units at 2000 high 2007 2800 plus PSF, and then they were cheering it like they just got the like Chuan Park at 2000 PSF. I'm like, wow, do you even know what you're doing? So anyway, these are the guys that we need to salute because they are the heroes of our OCR's investments. Anyway, averaging 2,577 PSF. If Jayden today at the other end of Singapore, you can say that it's CBD or whatever, second CBD or whatever, but the other end of Singapore is the other end of Singapore. At least until it seriously became another real second CBD, everyone is universally recognized, and they don't ever say that Jurong East is an ulu place anymore. If not, Chuan Park being in front of Long Chuan is going to be a much more superior location, like it or not, compared to Jurong East. And if they can command this kind of price and still sell out at the kind of percentages that they did, what makes people think that, I don't know, that's why I personally feel, if they can do this, so why would the developer want to sell it at this price? Knowing that Jurong East almost managed to sell out with this kind of average price. I hope you get what I mean. That's why I'm not too optimistic when it comes to Chuan Park being able to sell at a lower price, because it really doesn't make sense. If I'm the developer, I don't think I'm going to do it. It's not beneficial to me. And this is the same developer that sold Hill at one-off. They managed to get it at a rough break even of 1,900 plus, below 2,000. And guess what? They managed to sell it at an average of 2,600 PSF. So this is an example of, if they got it cheap, it doesn't always mean that they have to sell it cheap. I hope this is a simple enough logic for most people to understand, because if you were put in their shoes, you know the market is more optimistic compared to the COVID times, and you know that people want your product. Why would you want to sell cheap? Because you're a businessman today, right? So this was the Hill one-off. We look at some of the others that are in the area for Hill one-off. All the other 99-year older ones, all these are 99 by the way, are all below. And the Hill one-off is really one cut above the rest, other than Blossom by the Park, because I see this in a way like a sister project. They were sold both at the same time, and almost side by side, just one piece of land in between. That's all. And that's why these two are kind of close. But to sell at this price point compared to the rest, I think this is a huge margin, because you're talking about 1,500, 1,600, and this guy is like 1,000 PSF ahead of them. So if we apply this logic, will Chuan Park developers be doing the same thing? That they'll be selling at this kind of margin above? I don't know, that's personally how I feel. Maybe when they release the prospective PSF, then we'll have a review over to see whether what I mentioned is correct. But of course, we don't just look at starting from because they always tangle at starting from. Anyone can look at very low starting from, because some of them last time, or actually, I don't think Chuan Park is under the new harmonization era. Because you also need to know that even though they are not under the harmonization, the post-harmonization era, it does not mean that they have to sell it at the post-harmonization era kind of the pre-harmonization kind of PSF. They can always sell it at the post-harmonization, because not every buyer understands. And they will be comparing it to developments like Landon mentioned, and people won't even bat an eye, because it's just gonna take some time before eventually people accepts the PSF pre and post harmonization as it is. So, as I mentioned, this could be a beginning of a new era. Why? Because last time during COVID period, everyone talk about the break-even price. If you may have managed to sell it to buy it from the developer at break-even price, then you manage to get a good deal. But today it's an entirely different market. Now we are seeing things like this: 1,009 PSF break-even, and then you are getting it at 2,600 plus. And the problem, they can always turn back the clock when buyers don't buy it. But the issue now is that your fellow Singaporeans are buying it, and they know that if you are not buying it, somebody else is going to be buying it, and that is why they are able to set the kind of price profit margin today. And if you are going for too fat a profit margin, then you have to be a little bit more careful, because that is going to eventually erode your own profit margin when you sell it out to future buyers. Okay, because today it's simple logic again. Today, if I buy a MacBook, maybe let's say retail price, I don't know, I'm not exactly sure about MacBook lah. Okay, maybe let's just talk about iPhone. Maybe $1,700 iPhone. If today I buy it at $1,000, I sell it at 1,600, 1,700, I think I can make quite a decent margin. But if today I buy it at $1,500 PSF, no, $1,500 for iPhone, I don't think I'm gonna make $600 by selling it, right? Because I have to sell it at 2,100 plus when retail price is only about 1,700 plus. So I hope you are getting what I'm trying to say over here. So this kind of marks a new era when it comes to price expectations for new projects. And definitely, I think at this point there are better opportunities for people to enter compared to just waiting for Chuan Park. As of now, if I'm not wrong, they are going to be expecting it to be coming in September this year. So until then, if let's say in between you are determined to wait for this, not wrong, but you have to be making a very informed decision, because eventually if the price is not going to come up according to what you're expecting, then you have to be looking around what are the other projects that you were considering, but by the time you look back, will they be gone already? So that's the opportunity cost that you have to be considering about. So in case you are wondering about what you should be buying for your investment, then feel free to reach out, because time is really indeed money. I personally was considering waiting for Chuan Park, and I'm very thankful I didn't commit to waiting for it, because I'm almost like more than 1 year plus into my SSD already. So I don't think it's worthwhile enough time. And also, if you think about it, today if you manage to enter a project at 2,700 PSF, if you want to make a 400 PSF profit, you have to make a 400k profit for 1,000 square feet. Let's not even talk about ROI. If you're talking about 400 PSF, you need to exit Chuan Park at 3,100 PSF for a leasehold project. So eventually, will it get there? Maybe. But how long will it get there? I don't know, 5 years, 10 years, 15 years. So that is something for you to ponder. I think a lot of people have not really think about what it actually is compared to what they always feel good about the location just because of an MRT station. Alright, I hope that helps. That will be all we have for today. See you guys. Bye bye.